Hey, Dr. Bryce Lee with Strength Space and another frequently asked question video. This week, a client asked me, why do we care so much about our fast twitch muscle fibers? One of the rationales we have for why we approach strength training the way we do with meaningful loads and very high efforts is that our day-to-day lives don't really give us much of an opportunity or a reason to use our biggest, strongest muscle fibers, our fast twitch fibers. And so because of that, because we aren't sprinting away from predators or fighting off attackers or hunting and things like that, we don't use these fibers very often and they atrophy with age. And my client asks me, why is this a big problem? Surely when we're 70 or 80, we don't need those big explosive muscle fibers because our lives aren't as big and explosive. We aren't playing, contact sports and things like that. So is it really necessary to intervene here and do anything about this atrophy? So I think there are two main ways that we really do need fast twitch muscle fibers in our old age. The first, most pressing way is to deal with the risk of falls, and then when a fall actually happens, what is the outcome of that fall? Whether we fall has a lot to do with our body's ability to quickly react, to pull a foot up over an obstacle and bring it back down hard with a lot of force onto the ground. And whether we're able to do that has a lot to do with our fast twitch muscle fibers. Do we have the explosive force potential? Do we have the strength to quickly generate the forces we need to prevent a fall from happening in the first place? And then secondly, if we do fall, how will our body take the impact of that fall, right? Do we have the muscular shock absorption and do we have the bone density, which only can occur, we can only have that bone density if we've been training our muscle tissue to deal with heavy loads. That's the only way to really preserve that bone density. So the fast twitch fibers are a proxy for bone density in that way as well. Do we have the strength and robustness to take a fall if we reach our hand out as we're falling? Are we going to fracture our wrist or hurt our shoulder, or do our muscles have the shock absorption potential to spare our joints from injury, right? So we know that strength and strength training are the most important interventions to prevent fractures with falls. In addition to nutrition and other lifestyle factors, strength remains one of the most important components of a fracture prevention approach to strengthening and health. And secondly, we have to think also about our metabolic health. Fast twitch muscle fibers are big sponges for dietary carbohydrates, right? Our fast twitch muscle fibers preferentially use glucose for energy, whereas our slow twitch fibers can use fats, stored fatty acids, or dietary fats. But our fast twitch fibers require glucose, and they require it and store it locally in what are called glycogen, or what is called glycogen. Glycogen is a storage form of dietary carbohydrate, which allows our muscles to have a ready source of energy. And so if our fast twitch muscle fibers are shrinking with age, then so too is our ability to store muscle glycogen. The sponge, the amount of carbohydrate we can store in our muscle tissue, is shrinking, and as that capacity shrinks, our ability to use the carbohydrates in our diet diminishes. It becomes harder work for our pancreas to manage the incoming carbohydrates because there's just less room to store them in the muscle tissue. So, diabetes, we know, is one of the primary risk factors for cancer, heart disease, dementia, right? So of course, if we want to age well, if we want to reduce the burden we are on our loved ones as we age, preserving our fast twitch muscle tissue is one of the most important things we can do to prevent our risk of falls and fracture and to prevent our risk of these major comorbidities of diabetes. So I hope that helps understand how we put this into context and how we think about fast twitch muscle tissue as a really crucial component of aging well and being in good health throughout the entire course of our life. Thanks very much for listening. Again, I'm Dr. Bryce Lee with Strength Space. Stay tuned for more frequently asked question videos.